Hello again. Once upon a time, most of us who lived in London would read in the papers about some awful event in Brixton, mugging gone wrong, say, and we would just thank our lucky stars that we didn't live in such an area. Almost the whole of London was pleasant and safe, but there were a few places, Brixton, Tottenham, Hackney and so on, where vicious street crime and pointless murders took place. Those living in Ilford or Edgware or Barnet just shrugged when they heard about what went on in what was known in those days as the inner city. Of course, these days the inner city and its disorder has spread outwards at an alarming rate, and previously agreeable suburbs have become as ghastly as Brixton ever was, worse in some ways. As a result, we are no longer surprised to hear about shocking murders in even the nicest parts of the capital. Burnt Oak used to be a quiet suburb a few decades ago, but it has changed out of all recognition in recent years until fewer than 45% of those living there are white, and most of them are Romanian. The informal name for Burnt Oak being Little Romania. When a young hoodlum tried to grab the handbag of a 66-year-old grandmother who was waiting at a bus stop one morning, she hung onto her bag, whereupon the young man knifed her to death. Those of us who know the area could pretty well guess the ethnicity of the killer, and we knew that he was unlikely to be Romanian or English. The name of the man arrested and charged with the crime was Jalal Dabella, and he was Ethiopian. This really is a multicultural area, for the person charged with investigating the case was Chief Inspector Gaman Paila, and what nationality he might be, the Lord alone knows. This kind of thing has spread out further than Burnt Oak, though. Even the really wealthy parts of the suburbs, places like Totteridge and Whetstone in Barnet, are seeing the same kind of offences. A year ago, a fellow called Olsi Kuka was sitting at home when a gang of armed men burst in and attacked him, stabbing him to death. Those responsible, to a greater or lesser extent, may be seen in the thumbnail to this video. They are a mixed bag of nationalities and ethnicities, the only common factor being that none of them are white British. That Whetstone was the scene of this affair tells us that the last decent parts of London have now fallen to, a less than desirable state, shall we say, and that literally nowhere in Britain's capital city is one free from the threat of sudden and unexpected death. This is a sobering reflection, for it is no longer possible to divide London up into decent and safe parts and those which are a bit iffy and others that are downright dangerous. The entire city has become one vast no-go area, where at any moment, just waiting for a bus in broad daylight, one is liable to be cut down. Little wonder that many people who prefer a quiet and orderly life have abandoned the city and moved out of the suburbs and into the commuter belt of towns just outside London. But the phenomenon is following them outward, slowly but inexorably. Towns like Luton and High Wycombe are now fast approaching a similar status as some of the rougher parts of London. It almost seems as though it is no longer a question of giving up on London, but that it will soon be a case of giving up on England itself.